So Chris, Midicake, I've not come across this before. I think our paths have nearly crossed, but we finally meet.
Just missed each other a few times. Yeah. So I was in computer music for a long time in the kind of producer role, and I wanted to get more hands-on, so I got into MIDI controllers, and then my mate got me into hardware, and then it's a slippery slope into live performances. But I want to make more kind of ephemeral stuff, kind of like out there compositions.
Yeah.
Just made it up on the fly and never having to finish anything. And so I had an idea for a device that would basically free up my hands and play the synths for me based on the rules that I wanted to predefine. So it would allow me to play a keyboard or a sequencer, and it would, based on the rules that I'd given it, it would deal with the synths and leave my hands free.
Right.
And so I came up with the idea for Midicake. And so Midicake ARP is essentially 4 arpeggiators in a box, but it's parametric. So you have a play mode, you have the ability to play individual notes, and at the moment I'll pick something that sounds a bit better. You can play individual notes live, and you just hear it arpeggiating.
Yeah.
Or we can play on a keyboard, and the note inputs then determine. So from a live point of view, I've split the keyboard here, I can be playing chords here, playing live, and it's following the input that I give it.
Right, okay.
And so it's not like a classic arpeggiator, it's not arpeggiating around the notes that you play, but the notes you play determine the scale that it's going to use for all of its notes. And each individual arpeggiator's parameters, if I go into set mode, you can set things like how fast it's going, obviously, the number of steps within a sequence, the direction that it's moving, so various different directions. And then the bounce is a kind of pattern of the way it moves through the steps in the scale. And we can go in and edit that as well, so we've got a kind of little mini step sequencer for the bounce. Repeats, jumps, delays, which do timings, note and scale offsets. Everything below the line here, all the note buttons, they're the parameters that shape the sequence.
Right.
Everything above the line is how that sequence then behaves. So we've got different modes. We've got an ARP mode, a chord mode, a pad mode, and a drone mode.
I was going to ask, so you've got like the ability for chords.
And then rhythm and groove are kind of step sequencers for velocity and timing, so your delay. So for rhythm, you can do mutes and kind of rhythmic patterns. And then with groove, you can do swings, or you can do really odd, crazy stuff with timing. And it'll cross notes as well, so you can do some really crazy stuff. And then you've essentially got 3 modulators. So the modulators allow you to pick gone too far. Pick a parameter, so we can go from velocity, octave, step, whatever, even adjusting the time division, so how fast it's moving.
Right.
And then modulate that, given a shape, over a number of bars. So, from a quarter of a bar all the way up to 32 bars.
Right, so you could use it for big ambient nonsense.
Yeah, generative stuff, or, just kind of all sorts. It's very open, and because it's that parameter based, and the fact that it's deterministic, it's always going to behave the way you told it to. So regardless of what you're playing on the keys, it's kind of going to follow and keep in sequence based on those rules.
And does it have sort of intelligent MIDI handling? You said you'd split the keyboard here. Is that handled inside here, so you can take an input and go, I want from this, are you dealing with it in there, or is that done externally?
It doesn't do MPE. All it does is take note inputs to the scale.
Can you say, I want C1 to C3 to go to this arpeggiator, I want C0 from an external MIDI source?
I can hardly hear you, I'm sorry.
I suppose I'm asking, does it do intelligent mapping? So can you map certain areas of the keyboard to certain... right, okay.
Yeah, so in terms of being able to determine what you play, obviously each ARP can have its own MIDI channel, and you've got mono and poly modes. Obviously mono synths can't deal with poly. And then you've got a MIDI keyboard split. So in this case, I've set this half. You can see if I play this half of the keys, it controls the notes in, but this half doesn't do anything. So from a live performance basis, you can use your left or right hand or certain MIDI channels to control the note scales that are available to us.
And that's presumably a four-way split if you want it, or
yeah.
Okay, and it's got more than one MIDI input, so you can...
Yes, we got 3. We got USB, obviously USB power, USB over MIDI. No, MIDI over USB. It supports MIDI host, so you can host out, and then MIDI in and out.
Oh, neat. So have you got I mean, you've got a lot of nice stuff here lined up. Have you got a
Yeah, this is my live set. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. You'll have to come along to one of our EMOMs.
Oh, yeah, I don't get out much.
So what's going on here? I mean, have you got a patch you can show us the complexity of what's going on?
It's USB powered. Yeah.
Have you got a patch that you can show us that's using some of these things so we can see some?
Yeah, so let me put it on. I've got the 4 synths going here. I'll turn this one off as well. These 2 are synced. It's a MIDI controller as well, so I'll bring the drums in. I'll have a bit of drums. So then as we... And the visualizer's just kind of showing the MIDI at the moment. Yeah, so you see all 4 going. We can set these to follow as well, so it'll do 1 at a time. Or we can set those to rotate in pairs.
And presumably you've got patch setups in here so you can have different songs and, you know...
Yeah. We got 16 banks of 12 patches, so we can load new patches in just by picking a note button, press load. We can copy, so we can take patch 2 and copy it to patch 3, whatever, or load it in.
And can you chain?
Can you change? You can't change patches at the moment. You can change chords. So if you hit the program button, you can chain, and then it'll play that sequence, obviously over 4 bars. I shouldn't have done so many notes. So it's rudimentary. It's only on the bar at the moment. There's a firmware update coming though, which will allow you to just have more fine-grained control over the resolution of that, and some more changes. But yeah, developing this thing all the time. We get new feature requests like almost daily.
So yeah, how much is it and where can people buy it?
It's 320 plus VAT. We assemble them in the UK, and yeah, we ship worldwide, all via the website. Don't use resellers at the moment.
So presumably you've got a YouTube channel and stuff where people can see
YouTube
video.
channel, yeah, we're on all the socials.
Is that Midicake?
Midicake, yeah.
Midicake YouTube channel for more demos.
Yeah, there's a lot of content on YouTube because that's where I started, going right back to the prototype. But yeah, just it's grown as I've grown, really. You know, this is my baby, this is my passion. I've been working on this full time for the last year now. It's my escape from reality, really.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you ever so much.
Okay.